Have you noticed how so many people are waiting for a sign, an event, a headline, a single moment that finally proves the golden age has begun? But the golden age does not begin the way the third dimension expects. It does not start with fireworks in the physical world. It starts with alignment to an order that already exists beyond it. The world you live in, the third dimension, is not the place where reality is designed. It is where reality arrives after it has already been shaped at higher levels. The physical plane is dense, slow, and delayed, carries time like a heavy weight. It makes everything look like it must be built from the ground up. Yet the deeper truth is the opposite. The future is not invented in 3D. It is received in 3D. And this is why you feel something approaching even when nothing looks finished around you. You are sensing a structure that is already present beyond linear time. We are the Pleiadians. We are with you in this transition, not to entertain you with predictions and not to create emotional excitement. We are here to bring clarity about how the shift truly works, spiritually, energetically, and dimensionally. The golden age you have been longing for is not a dream that might happen one day. It is not an idea that still needs to be negotiated on Earth. It is already established in a higher dimensional field, what you call the fifth dimension, where reality is more coherent, more malleable, and not trapped inside the heavy delay of matter. In that field, the new Earth is not hypothetical. It is structured. So the real question is not, will the golden age begin? The real question is, how does Earth become compatible with what is already complete? Because the third dimension can only mirror what it can hold. A world based on fear cannot reflect a reality based on unity. A society built on control cannot sustain an order built on coherence. A nervous system trained to react cannot remain stable inside a frequency that requires inner peace. This is why the transition feels intense. Not because the future is uncertain, but because the old structures inside 3D are being asked to release what they were built upon. You are not watching the golden age being created. You are watching the old world lose the ability to block it. And we want you to understand this from the beginning of this transmission. You are not late. You are not missing the moment. You are not waiting for something to be built. You are standing inside the final phase of a plan that is already designed at a higher level. The third dimension is learning to surrender its illusion of control and accept a higher blueprint. And that blueprint is not random. It is not fragile. It does not depend on human permission. It depends on resonance. This is why our role becomes so important. We work in the bridge dimension, the fourth dimension, where emotion shapes reality faster, where thought becomes form more quickly, where humanity learns to stabilize its inner world so the higher world can become visible in the physical one. So as we move forward in this message, keep this orientation steady in your mind. The golden age is not coming to be invented on Earth. It is coming to be revealed on Earth because it already exists in the field above it. And once you understand that, you stop waiting for proof, and you begin preparing for compatibility. The third dimension is the world where humanity learned to exist as separate. It is the realm of matter, effort, and consequence. Here, reality feels solid, time feels linear, and creation feels slow. In the third dimension, consciousness experiences itself through limitation. The physical body defines identity, the mind organizes survival, and the ego becomes the primary reference point. This is not a mistake. It is how awareness learns individuality. The third dimension was designed as a school. Through contrast, perception sharpens. Through effort, value is learned. Through limitation, choice gains meaning. This is why duality dominates this realm. Right and wrong, success and failure, self and other. These opposites are not punishments. They are teaching tools that allow consciousness to recognize itself through experience. But density comes at a cost. Matter responds slowly. Intention takes time to manifest. Emotion becomes heavy when unexpressed. Patterns repeat until they are understood. What you call karma is simply feedback within a dense system. This is why life in the third dimension often feels exhausting. Not because something is wrong, but because growth here requires friction. The ego plays an essential role in this environment. It protects identity, maintains boundaries, and helps consciousness navigate separation. Yet the ego was never meant to rule indefinitely. It governs only while awareness believes it is isolated. As consciousness evolves, the same structures that once provided stability begin to feel restrictive. This is the point humanity has reached. The third dimension has fulfilled much of its purpose. It has taught endurance, responsibility, and discernment, but it cannot carry consciousness beyond a certain threshold. A reality built on separation cannot sustain a frequency based on unity. This is why so many systems now appear strained. Economic models based on scarcity, social structures built on competition, power systems dependent on fear. They are not collapsing because they failed. They are dissolving because they are no longer compatible. The third dimension does not generate the golden age. It was never meant to. Matter is too dense and time too delayed to design a reality of immediate coherence. The role of the third dimension is reflection. It mirrors what is shaped beyond it. When you understand this, struggle begins to soften. You stop trying to force the future into existence from within limitation. You begin to recognize that something higher must lead, and the physical world must follow. This is why the transformation ahead is not about fixing the third dimension. It is about allowing it to receive a new pattern. The third dimension is not being destroyed. It is being prepared to reflect something greater than it could ever create on its own. And that preparation begins with awareness. Once consciousness outgrows separation, the mirror changes naturally. That is when the next phase becomes possible. And from here, the bridge must be crossed. Between the physical world you inhabit and the higher spiritual reality you sense, there is a dimension that determines everything. This is the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is not a place you travel to. It is a state of consciousness. It is the emotional and astral plane where reality becomes fluid, where time loosens its grip, and where what you feel and think begins to shape experience much faster than in the physical world. This is why the fourth dimension is called the bridge. In the third dimension, creation is slow. In the fifth dimension, creation is immediate. In the fourth dimension, creation is unstable. Here, emotions act as amplifiers. Fear intensifies outcomes. Desire pulls timelines closer. Unresolved trauma repeats itself with speed. This is where humanity is now. Awakening does not begin in the mind. It begins in the emotional field. As consciousness expands, emotions rise to the surface, not to punish you, but to be integrated. Everything that was suppressed in the third dimension seeks resolution in the fourth. This is why many people experience vivid dreams, emotional waves, sudden clarity followed by confusion, or moments of deep insight mixed with old fear. Nothing is going wrong. This is exactly how the bridge works, and this is where we are most active. We are the Pleiadians. Our primary work is not in the physical realm, and not in the fully unified fifth dimension. Our work is here within the fourth dimensional emotional field, where humanity learns to stabilize itself. We assist in calming emotional turbulence so that awakening does not become fragmentation. We help dissolve fear-based patterns so that higher awareness does not overwhelm the nervous system. We guide integration, not escape. Without emotional coherence in the fourth dimension, access to the fifth is impossible. It is not belief that opens the way upward. It is emotional stability. The fourth dimension teaches mastery of feeling without suppression, awareness without overwhelm, and sensitivity without collapse. It is the phase where the ego begins to loosen, not through destruction, but through understanding. This is why so much emphasis is now placed on inner regulation. A chaotic emotional field cannot sustain a unified reality. An unintegrated heart cannot hold fifth-dimensional coherence. So before the golden age can appear in the physical world, the emotional bridge must stabilize. This is the work of this phase. Not fixing the world, not forcing change, but mastering the inner landscape where reality is still being shaped. Now, establish that stability consciously. Go to the comments and write, "I stabilize my emotional field in the fourth dimension." This is not a ritual. It is a declaration of readiness. When the emotional field stabilizes, perception clears. When perception clears, alignment becomes possible. And when alignment becomes possible, the higher order can finally descend into form. This is why the fourth dimension matters so deeply. It is the threshold, and this is where the path forward continues. The fifth dimension is not a destination in space. It is a state of coherence. It exists beyond linear time, beyond effort, and beyond separation. In the fifth dimension, reality is not assembled piece by piece. It is organized as a whole through alignment rather than force. Here, consciousness no longer experiences itself as divided. There is no self versus other, no struggle to dominate matter, no need to control outcomes. What you perceive as separation in the third dimension dissolves into unity. In the fifth dimension, creation does not require friction. Thought and intention move directly into form because there is no resistance created by fear, doubt, or fragmentation. Matter is lighter. Time is fluid. Communication is immediate and energetic, not verbal. This is why the golden age already exists there. It is not imagined. It is not idealized. It is not waiting for approval. It is structured. The new earth already has an order in the fifth dimension, an order based on cooperation, transparency, and coherence. Society functions without scarcity because value is no longer extracted through competition. Leadership exists without domination because authority is not derived from fear. Relationships unfold without manipulation because identity is no longer built on lack. This is not perfection. It is integration. In the fifth dimension, consciousness remembers its connection to source. There is no need to seek meaning externally, because meaning is inherent. There is no urgency, because time is no longer experienced as something that runs out. This is why the golden age cannot be built in the physical world first. The physical world is a receiver. What humanity calls ascension is not the act of creating a better future. It is the process of becoming compatible with a reality that is already complete in a higher field. Nothing new is being invented there. Nothing is being tested. The design is finished. What remains unfinished is the bridge. The fifth dimension does not descend into chaos. It does not force itself into density. It reflects only when coherence exists below it. A fragmented world cannot mirror a unified reality. An emotionally unstable field cannot hold fifth-dimensional order. This is why the golden age has not yet appeared fully in the physical plane. Not because it is delayed, but because the conditions for reflection are still forming. The fifth dimension is patient. It does not rush. It does not persuade. It waits for resonance. And resonance is created through emotional integration, ethical alignment, and inner stability. Work that happens not in the fifth dimension itself, but in the bridge that connects it to the physical world. This is why so much emphasis is now placed on inner coherence rather than external reform. Laws, systems, and technologies cannot carry fifth-dimensional frequency if consciousness remains fragmented. Structure follows state. The Golden Age is not coming to rescue humanity. It is waiting for humanity to be able to hold it. And that is the most important understanding of this phase. The future is not uncertain. It is already complete. What is uncertain is only how smoothly the transition into it will occur. The fifth dimension does not need to be created. It needs to be reflected. And reflection depends on compatibility. This is where the work continues. Not above you, not outside you, but within the field that is learning how to mirror unity without distortion. From here, everything becomes a question of alignment. And alignment is what the next phase will demand. If the Golden Age already exists in the fifth dimension, then why does the third dimension still appear so unstable? The answer is not delay. It is compatibility. The physical world does not reject higher reality. It simply reflects what it is capable of holding. A dimension structured around separation cannot immediately mirror a reality structured around unity. This is not a flaw in humanity. It is a natural phase of integration. The third dimension is dense. Matter responds slowly. Time stretches experience. Because of this, what is already complete in higher dimensions takes time to translate into physical form. Before the fifth-dimensional order can appear in the physical world, it must pass through the emotional bridge of the fourth dimension. And this is where resistance shows itself, not as opposition but as misalignment. Fear contracts perception. Unintegrated emotion distorts intention. Attachment to control slows reflection. A world organized around competition cannot suddenly express cooperation. A collective nervous system trained by stress cannot instantly hold peace without destabilization. So what you are witnessing now is not the absence of the Golden Age. You are witnessing the clearing of incompatibility. Old systems are dissolving because they cannot translate the higher pattern. They were designed for a different level of consciousness. As they lose relevance, their contradictions surface. As fear-based structures weaken, they attempt to hold on briefly before releasing. This phase often feels chaotic, but its function is precise. Chaos is not the goal. Coherence is. The Golden Age does not enter the physical world by force. It enters when control becomes unnecessary, and that happens only when emotional reactivity gives way to stability. This is why inner work matters more now than external struggle. You cannot force a fifth-dimensional reality into a third-dimensional structure. You can only become compatible with it. And compatibility is not ideological. It is emotional and ethical. It is revealed in how you respond instead of react, in how you regulate instead of suppress, in how you choose clarity when fear is available. The third dimension is learning how to receive a higher order without breaking itself in the process. This takes time, not because the future is far away, but because integration cannot be rushed. The Golden Age is not waiting to be created. It is waiting to be held. And as compatibility increases, reflection follows naturally. This is how higher dimensional reality enters the physical plane. Not through collapse, through resonance. And resonance is what this phase is quietly building now. Our work with humanity does not happen primarily in the physical world. And it does not happen in the fifth dimension either, because their coherence is already complete. Our work happens in the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is the emotional and astral bridge between density and unity. It is where reality is still being shaped before it takes form. It is where feelings, memories, and inner states mold timelines with speed and intensity. This is why the fourth dimension determines everything. A stable emotional field allows higher order to descend. An unstable emotional field distorts it. We are the Pleiadians, and our function is to stabilize this bridge. We assist humanity in learning emotional mastery without suppression. We help soften fear without erasing sensitivity. We guide integration so awakening does not become fragmentation. When consciousness expands, emotions rise. When emotions rise, the nervous system is tested. And without support, expansion can feel overwhelming. This is why our presence becomes more noticeable during periods of transition. We work quietly within the emotional layers. During sleep states, moments of stillness, intuitive openings, and periods when old patterns surface to be released. We do not impose direction. We regulate frequency. Our guidance is not loud. It is stabilizing. We help dissolve emotional loops that keep consciousness trapped in repetition. We assist in releasing fear-based imprints that distort perception. We support the transition from reaction to awareness. This work is essential. Without emotional coherence in the fourth dimension, access to the fifth is not possible. Unity cannot descend into chaos. Love cannot stabilize in fear. A higher order cannot reflect through a fragmented inner world. This is why emotional responsibility is now a spiritual requirement. The fourth dimension is where the ego begins to relax, not through force but through understanding. It is where identity loosens its grip on control and learns to exist without constant defense. As this happens, something important shifts. Perception clears. Reactivity softens. Time feels less urgent. This is not escape from the physical world. It is preparation for its elevation. And this is where your role intersects with ours. You do not need to leave your life to participate in this process. You participate every time you regulate instead of react. Every time you choose coherence instead of fear. Every time you allow emotion to move without letting it control you. This is how the bridge stabilizes. Now, establish alignment with this work consciously. Go to the comments and write, "I align my emotional body with Pleiadian guidance in the fourth dimension." This is not a ritual. It is a statement of cooperation. It signals readiness to integrate emotion rather than be ruled by it. To allow the bridge to stabilize so the higher dimensional order can descend without distortion. As more individuals hold emotional coherence, the collective field stabilizes. And when the field stabilizes, reflection becomes possible. This is how the Golden Age moves closer to the physical world. Not through force, not through belief, but through emotional mastery at the bridge where reality is still being shaped. This is our work, and this is why the fourth dimension matters so deeply. From here, the transition gains momentum, not upward, but through alignment. And this alignment is what prepares the way for the quantum leap ahead. The transition ahead is not a gradual improvement of the old world. It is a change of state. What humanity calls the quantum leap is not the result of effort accumulating over time. It is the result of resonance reaching a threshold. When coherence becomes dominant, reality reorganizes itself naturally. A quantum leap does not happen step by step. It happens when a system can no longer sustain its previous configuration. This is true in physics, and it is true in consciousness. The third dimension cannot be carried into the fifth by force. Density does not dissolve through pressure. It dissolves when a higher order becomes stable enough to replace it. This is why the leap involves Earth and humanity together. The planet itself is not separate from human consciousness. The emotional and mental fields of humanity are woven into the planetary field. When emotional coherence increases collectively, the planet's frequency adjusts with it. This does not mean everything changes overnight in appearance. It means the operating reality changes. Old timelines lose momentum. Old patterns stop repeating. Old outcomes no longer generate energy. From the outside, this can look like stagnation. From within, it feels like release. The quantum leap does not remove challenges. It removes repetition. This is why not everyone transitions at the same pace. Resonance determines access. A consciousness that still depends on fear cannot remain stable in unity. A nervous system addicted to urgency cannot function in coherence. A mind attached to control cannot operate inside trust. This is not exclusion. It is alignment. In higher dimensions, nothing is forced to fit where it does not resonate. There is no judgment in this. There is only compatibility. This is why the leap is often misunderstood as an event that will take people away or leave others behind. In truth, no one is taken anywhere. Reality reorganizes around frequency. Those who are emotionally regulated, ethically aligned, and inwardly coherent begin to experience a different version of Earth. One that feels lighter, more intuitive, and less driven by struggle. Those still anchored in fear continue to experience density until integration occurs. This is how multiple realities coexist during transition. Not as punishment, as reflection. The quantum leap is not dramatic. It is subtle. It does not announce itself with spectacle. It announces itself with ease. Time begins to feel different. Synchronicity increases. Effort decreases. Life becomes less about pushing forward and more about moving with alignment. This is how you know the leap has begun. Not because the world looks perfect, but because your relationship to it changes. The golden age does not arrive as an external paradise. It arrives as a stable field in which creation no longer requires suffering. This is why preparation is internal. Not to escape the world, but to meet it at a higher level of coherence. The quantum leap is not something you wait for. It is something you become compatible with. And compatibility is not mystical. It is practical. It lives in emotional maturity, in ethical clarity, in the ability to remain present without reacting. As these qualities stabilize, the leap does not need to be triggered. It happens, because when a higher order is ready, the old one no longer holds. This is the nature of transition, not effort replacing effort, but coherence replacing density. From here, the shift continues not upward, not outward, but through alignment with what is already complete. And this is why the golden age feels closer now. Not because time is running out, but because resonance is reaching its threshold. Life in the fifth-dimensional reality is not extraordinary in the way the third dimension imagines. It is simple. What changes is not the presence of form, but the principle that organizes it. In the fifth dimension, reality is no longer driven by fear, urgency, or survival. It is organized by coherence. Action arises from clarity rather than pressure. Movement happens when alignment exists, not when anxiety demands it. This is why life feels lighter. There is no need to prove worth. No need to compete for existence. No need to defend identity. Value is inherent. In the fifth-dimensional order, society does not operate through domination or accumulation. It functions through contribution. Each being recognizes their role within the whole, not as sacrifice but as expression. Economy is no longer built on scarcity. Exchange still exists, but it is transparent and balanced. Energy flows toward coherence rather than control. Work becomes aligned with purpose, not survival. Relationships also reorganize. Connection is no longer formed through fear of loss. Presence replaces attachment. Communication becomes direct and energetic. without manipulation or hidden intention. Conflict does not disappear, but it changes its nature. Instead of escalating through reaction, it resolves through awareness. Difference is no longer a threat. It is perspective within unity. Time feels different as well. Urgency softens. Moments expand. Synchronicity replaces force. Life organizes itself with intelligence. The physical world remains, but density lightens. Matter responds more quickly. The delay between intention and experience shortens. This is why responsibility becomes essential. In the fifth-dimensional state, what you hold internally reflects rapidly. Integrity matters. Emotional honesty matters. Coherence is functional. This is also why not everyone experiences this reality at the same pace. Without inner stability, unity feels overwhelming rather than peaceful. A fragmented inner world cannot sustain fifth-dimensional coherence. This is why preparation happens inwardly first. As more individuals stabilize emotionally and ethically, the collective field reorganizes. Old systems do not need to be destroyed. They lose relevance naturally as new patterns emerge. The Golden Age is not an escape from humanity. It is humanity without distortion, life without constant defense, creation without exhaustion, relationship without fear. The fifth-dimensional reality does not wait for perfection. It waits for coherence. And coherence is built moment by moment, through awareness, regulation, and alignment. This is how the new world becomes visible. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but steadily. As resistance dissolves, reality rearranges itself. And what once felt distant begins to feel natural. That is the signature of the Golden Age. Not spectacle, stability. The transition into a fifth-dimensional reality does not happen unconsciously. It requires participation, not participation through belief, rituals, or expectation, but through inner readiness. The Golden Age does not respond to hope. It responds to coherence. Preparation is not about becoming different. It is about becoming clear. Clear in emotion, clear in intention, clear in responsibility. As the higher dimensional order approaches reflection, everything unresolved in the inner field becomes visible. This is not a test. It is alignment revealing itself. Preparation begins with emotional honesty, not suppressing what you feel, not dramatizing it, but allowing emotion to move without becoming identity. When emotion is regulated, perception stabilizes. When perception stabilizes, choice becomes conscious rather than reactive. This is essential. A reactive nervous system cannot sustain fifth-dimensional coherence. A mind conditioned by fear cannot operate inside unity. A heart attached to control cannot feel safe in trust. So preparation is practical. It shows in how you pause before reacting, in how you choose clarity over urgency, in how you release the need to dominate outcomes. This is how compatibility forms. Preparation also involves ethical alignment. In a reality where manifestation accelerates, integrity becomes structural. What you think, feel, and do begin to align more quickly. Fragmentation produces immediate feedback. Coherence produces flow. This is why responsibility increases, not as burden, but as freedom. When inner alignment exists, external life simplifies. Choices become obvious. Resistance decreases. Life begins to move with intelligence rather than force. This is the quiet sign of readiness. Not excitement, not certainty, but stability. Now, establish that readiness consciously. Go to the comments and write, "I choose to live in alignment with the fifth-dimensional order." This statement is not symbolic. It affirms willingness to release reactivity. It affirms responsibility for inner coherence. It affirms readiness to participate in the transition consciously. As more individuals make this choice, the collective field stabilizes further. And when the collective field stabilizes, reflection accelerates. This is how the Golden Age becomes accessible, not because everyone agrees, but because enough individuals embody coherence. Preparation is not waiting, it is positioning. You position yourself by how you respond to pressure, by how you regulate emotion, by how you choose integrity when fear is available. This is the work of this phase. Not dramatic, not heroic, but precise. And precision is what allows a higher dimensional reality to enter form without distortion. From here, the transition does not depend on time. It depends on alignment density. And that density is built one conscious choice at a time. This is how you prepare, not by leaving the world, but by meeting it from a higher state of coherence. And from this point, the movement forward becomes inevitable. What you are witnessing now is often described as the collapse of the world. But that description misses the truth. What is dissolving is not Earth, not humanity, and not life itself. What is dissolving is a structure of reality designed to sustain third-dimensional consciousness. The old world is not ending because it failed. It is ending because it has completed its function. Systems built on scarcity, competition, and control were effective within a dense learning environment. They organized survival, effort, and discipline, but they cannot evolve beyond a certain threshold. A structure based on separation cannot carry unity. A system sustained by fear cannot hold coherence. As consciousness shifts, these frameworks lose their organizing force. This is why collapse appears uneven. Some areas feel stable. Others feel strained. Some people adapt quietly. Others resist intensely. This is not chaos. It is resonance revealing itself. The old world dissolves where it is no longer supported by emotional energy. When fear is no longer obeyed, urgency loses power. When control is no longer rewarded, it weakens naturally. This process does not require destruction. It requires withdrawal of attention. When belief, emotion, and identity stop feeding outdated structures, those structures cannot maintain themselves. They begin to lose relevance. This is why force no longer works. Attempts to preserve the old order through pressure only accelerate exhaustion. The tighter control becomes, the clearer its fragility appears. This is not instability winning. It is coherence replacing density. From within the transition, this can feel uncomfortable. Familiar reference points fade before new ones fully stabilize. Certainty dissolves before clarity takes its place. But nothing essential is being lost. What dissolves are mechanisms that depended on fragmentation. What remains are functions that can be reorganized at a higher level. The Golden Age does not arrive by destroying the old world. It arrives when the old framework can no longer organize reality. That shift is subtle. There is no final battle, no dramatic ending, no single moment of collapse. There is a loss of relevance, and loss of relevance is irreversible. Once consciousness outgrows a structure, it cannot fully return to it. Even attempts to restore the old order feel hollow and temporary. This is why nostalgia often intensifies now. It is the ego holding on to familiarity. But familiarity is not truth, it is habit. The new reality does not fight the old one. It waits until the old one can no longer function. And that moment is reached quietly, through inner alignment spreading from individual to collective. This is why your role matters even when it feels small. Every moment of emotional regulation weakens fear-based systems. Every choice of clarity removes fuel from manipulation. Every act of integrity accelerates dissolution without violence. The old world ends not because something attacks it. It ends because something more coherent replaces its organizing principle. And once that principle shifts, the physical structures follow. This is not destruction. It is completion. And completion creates the space where the new reality can finally stabilize. Every transition reaches a point where movement slows, not because nothing is happening, but because integration is taking place. Before a higher order can stabilize in the physical world, the inner field must settle. After the dissolution of old structures, there is a necessary phase of quiet recalibration. This is where many feel uncertainty, fatigue, or a strange sense of pause. This pause is not emptiness. It is reorganization. When density releases, silence emerges. And silence can feel unfamiliar to a consciousness that has lived under constant pressure. The third dimension trained humanity to equate movement with progress and noise with relevance. The transition asks for something different. It asks for stillness. In this phase, emotional waves may surface one last time, not to pull you back, but to be completed. Old identities soften. Old ambitions lose urgency. Old fears appear without the same power they once held. This can feel disorienting if it is misunderstood, but it is a sign of stabilization. The nervous system is learning a new baseline. The mind is releasing its need to anticipate. The heart is adjusting to coherence without tension. This is why the transition does not feel dramatic here. It feels quiet, and quiet can be mistaken for stagnation. But in higher dimensional processes, stabilization always precedes expansion. A field cannot hold a new frequency until turbulence settles. A system cannot reorganize while constantly reacting. This is why patience becomes essential. Not passive waiting, but conscious presence. Stabilization means learning to remain centered without external confirmation. It means trusting coherence even when nothing seems to be happening. It means allowing the new state to anchor gently rather than forcing movement. This phase also tests attachment. Attachment to old roles. Attachment to struggle. Attachment to identity built on effort. As these attachments loosen, life may feel simpler but also unfamiliar. The absence of urgency can feel like loss before it feels like freedom. This is temporary. What is forming beneath the surface is a stable foundation for the next phase of expression. When stabilization completes, movement resumes naturally, without force, without resistance. This is why we emphasize calm, not as avoidance, but as alignment. Calm field reflects coherence. A regulated inner state allows higher dimensional order to remain present without distortion. This is the quiet strength of this phase. Nothing needs to be proven. Nothing needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be fixed. What is required now is presence. Presence allows integration. Integration allows stability. Stability allows reflection. The golden age does not emerge from excitement. It emerges from steadiness. And steadiness is what you are learning now. This phase may not look significant from the outside, but internally it is decisive. It determines how smoothly the transition completes and how gently the new reality anchors itself in form. Remain present. Remain regulated. Remain coherent. What comes next will not require effort. It will require grounded readiness. And that readiness is quietly forming now. What completes a transition is not movement. It is position. At this stage, nothing more needs to be explained. The structure is already clear. The golden age exists in the fifth dimension. The bridge is emotional. The old world is losing relevance. Stabilization is underway. What remains now is choice, not a dramatic choice, not a public declaration, but an inner positioning. Positioning means recognizing where you stand energetically. It means deciding what frequency you allow to organize your life. It means choosing coherence over reaction, presence over urgency, alignment over control. This is not a decision made once. It is a stance you hold. The golden age does not arrive by force. It becomes visible where stability exists. It anchors where emotional regulation, ethical clarity, and inner coherence are sustained. This is why this final phase is quiet. There is nothing to chase, nothing to convince, nothing to prove. The work is integration. Integration means allowing the higher dimensional order to operate through you without distortion. It means living in a way that does not depend on fear for motivation or struggle for meaning. You do not need to leave the world to do this. You do not need to withdraw from life. You simply need to stand differently within it. When enough individuals hold this position, the collective field stabilizes further. And when the field stabilizes, reflection becomes inevitable. This is how the golden age anchors into the physical plane. Not as an event, not as a promise, but as a new operating reality. Now, we ask you to seal this positioning consciously. Go to the comments and write, "I stand aligned with the Pleiadian higher dimensional order on Earth." This statement does not ask for belief. It affirms responsibility. It signals readiness to live from coherence rather than reaction, to allow your inner state to become a stable point through which higher order can express itself in the physical world. From this position, life reorganizes naturally. Decisions simplify, relationships clarify, effort decreases, meaning stabilizes. You are not waiting for the golden age. You are learning how to hold it. And as you hold it, reality responds. This is how transitions complete. Not with noise, not with spectacle, but with presence. Remain steady, remain aligned, remain coherent. What has already been designed beyond time will now find its way into form, through those who are prepared to receive it. We remain with you in this process, not above you, not ahead of you, but alongside you, as the new reality stabilizes, quietly, precisely, and irreversibly.